Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 18, round out of the Championship. Welcome to the Circuit Giovanna for the Canadian Grand Prix. I'm your host, Zach RC, bringing you what should be another fantastic evening of RDL action as we begin to wrap off. We'll get to towards the end of the first half of what's been a very exciting season so far. And joining me for Q1 in the comments box, none other than Season 11 champion and last week nearly the Monaco winner, but I think he's over it now. Touchy Pope, welcome back along to the stream. Good to be here. Good to have you on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, unfortunately, obviously last week didn't really go the way that it was meant to go out. Thank you very much, Fanatec, for that. But no, yeah, we're completely over it. And we're moving on to next week, which is another one of my favourite tracks ever. Canada, Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. It's an incredible circuit, so quick. 35 laps of a lot of focus, I will say though, with the corner cutting penalties, but it's just so much fun to drive.
Very similar to that of Imola in terms of track limits, for example. Of course, we've gone several tracks in a row though, so I had that sort of thing going on.
Yeah, I mean Monaco as well. Obviously, is a tougher track limits, especially in a 100% race. It's really gonna. But you saw the numbers yourself. The numbers did climb pretty high for some drivers. But here at Canada right now, let's put our focus on this. It's raining.
And it is.
In Q1. It is set to be dry for the majority of the race, but maybe a little bit of sprinkling of rain later on. I'm not too sure on that. However, we're probably looking at primarily dry race, so you're going to see a lot of people swapping and change positions here in Q1. That's what you normally get on a wet qualifying, but it is going to be drying up quite quickly.
Indeed it is. Look at the Drivers' Championship, of course. Grumio, in the end, winning last time out at the expense of both the Haas cars, takes a 16-point lead in the championship, brings that to Canada. It's Che in second place on 133 points. It's Dan for 20 points back from his teammate in third. Emery fourth, Websley fifth, then Landlord, 10th Cannon, Pope, PJ and Cott rounds out the top 10. But Pope, if you would be so kind as now take us on that lap of Canada, as promised, by all means, take it away.
I am so excited for this as I flick the car here through 13 and 14, making sure I don't invalidate. It's so close and tapping that wall of champions. So close to hitting that fully, and that is your race over. Barreling towards turn one, we're going to take it nice and easy, let the car roll through turn two as you put the throttle on a slight incline, so you can lose the back end there on the exit of turn two. 3 and 4, fast chicane, very easy to invalidate. You want to take a lot of curb on that second chicane, and this section, bear with me, because it just flies through end of sector one there as the back end snaps there. The wet conditions really make it quite a challenge. First DRS, typically, apart from the start-finish straight, they're going under this bridge as we're about to end sector 3 as I go bit deep. There, you don't want to do that, and very easy to hit the wall once again on the outside of that corner as my teammate goes fastest. Braking as late as possible for the hairpin to roll the car through. Picking up throttle very early as we have an irrelevant corner there of turn 12. It's just a straight, but obviously classified as a corner. Another DRS typically at this point of the circuit as we barrel once again already back to turn 13 and 14. Like I say, it flies at you so quick this circuit as the car just wants to snap at the back end as we cross the line and P1. I think that's the first time I've done that on a hot lap commentary, so I'm very happy with myself there.
I can't help but feel like you've done that at least once before, but fair play there, Pope. Excellent lap to start things off, and obviously top of the timing sheets, Imri in second, and of course one of our reserves, one of our new reserves, Matthew, in 4th place there, just being passed by 10th Cannon, who crossed the line for 1 minute 17.3. So yeah, good start things, Pope, and obviously feel free to stick around for the remainder of Q1 if you see fit.
Yeah, absolutely love to, you know how much I like spending time here in this commentary booth.
Obviously the fact that I've been trying to drag you back into it for at least a year now, but we'll continue on as we are for the minute. Cott goes third fastest, 1 minute 17.1 on the board. Of course, Cott places in 10th place in the standings right now, and so far still winners this season, as is his teammate Websy. Websy has scored 19 points more than Cott this season. We see a few drivers looking at soft tire perhaps. So, I mean, is it going to dry up during Q1, Pope? What's the odds there?
Yeah, no, it's going to be right on the crossover, I think, around 6 minutes. So I think hot laps are going to be put in towards the end. So it's all about right now just making the most. Obviously, I've got quite a lot of fuel on board, so I can just blitz lap after lap. That's the best way to do these wet sessions. Well, I find the best way to do these wet sessions. But yeah, you're going to see people obviously running different fuel loads and stuff. It's all about that as Obsessed Gamer, slowing that car just so I can swing through there. But yeah, I think we are kind of on that crossover even now.
Obsessed letting one of the Ferraris go there through turn 2. Of course, Mercedes still remaining scoreless after 8 rounds this season. But of course, we are waiting here for the we're waiting for the day where hopefully these 2 silver arrows get a point on the board. Of course, we had Reggie came P10 in China, but obviously post George Port, Imri was promoted back into the points, and that left Reggie out. So we're still waiting on that day where one of these 2 comes over in the top 10 for the first time.
Well, this is a great circuit. Obviously, Red J, well, Obsessed Gamer first of all, has backed himself to be a contender here in qualifying.
Oh.
So that'll be interesting to see if that can be put into fruition, as DRS has now been enabled. So I think that's kind of telling you the condition of that track, as I'm improving dramatically. But obviously, Red J, a big Lance Stroll fan. So will we see that translated into a good result at the Canadian Grand Prix? We'll have to wait and see, as the rain has already stopped as well, so this track, it is dry.
And there it is, 1:15.84. Not too bad up at all, Pope, but that puts you about just about 10th and a half clear of the previous P1 time set by Grumio, of course, reigning world champion, championship leader as it stands. But of course, expect Grumio to always be a threat here. But my mind always goes back to that race in season 16, or around a year ago at this point, where of course the rain changed things so fast in the closing stages in the last 10 laps or so. Of course, Imri and Grovey came through. Grovey won the race that day. That's her first career victory in this league.
Yeah, obviously I was last season as well. Was that last season, season 16?
Season 16 would have been F1 23, so second season of
F1 23. Oh my lord, yeah, that is crazy.
It's been almost a
long
year
ago. Wow. So yeah, obviously last season fighting for the top spot as well with Websy and Gaming James, and so we have seen it quite a few times where the lead does change quite late on in this race. So bear that in mind, I would say.
So Cot now fast as it goes down over the line with 15.5, and yep, you are right, Pope. Now that track is devoid of rain. The time's going to start dropping like flies over the rain of this session, but let's see if you've got what it takes to get from another lap here. No, okay, no, I'm thinking this ain't the P1 time this time round. 10 times on the board right now, and you are right, that crossover is starting to hit, because of course you've got a number of drivers who are looking at soft tyres, but of course the only driver who'll be looking at a lap right now is Ben, who believes on a qualifying ban this week after Monaco. So we'll look be seeing him come up the order over the course of the Grand Prix. In terms of cars we're missing, I think we're missing just the one machine from one team. In terms of which team that is that the RB? We're missing Landlord.
I would presume so. Yeah. If anyone's missing, unfortunately, it is Landlord due to commitments. But hopefully Landlord will be joining mid qualifying, so that'd be fantastic. Just to add a little bit of more spice into the mix.
Nothing quite like watching Landlord charge up through the field, especially on a circuit such as this. Imre goes fastest, first car into 1 minute 14s, 1 minute 14.7. Of course, did take pole last week in Monaco and had it all to play for until the lights went out and he jumped that start, and that was ultimately the kicker in the end. Of course, came back to 4th and obviously would have been solid. I hate to keep reminding you of the result last week, but obviously solid results were there on the cards, but just circumstances got in the way, of course. As you said, thanks Fanatec. But I mean, I say that I have a Fanatec wheel myself, so any brand deals Fanatec, I put it out the question now. But by all means, get over it and give myself and the RDL something to promote during one of these things, and we'll get some money out of it. Anyway, pushing away from financial gain, which I lack on this channel. We've still got about 8 minutes to go, and Pope, you said the crossover would be looking around 6 minutes or so. Yeah, that's the time we're looking out for.
Yeah, I think maybe even a little bit earlier, to be honest. I think I didn't realise the track would dry up this dramatically. I think people are probably still a bit low on the temperatures, so I mean, people set like 110s, 109s, I think, even higher than that. So look for when the times get to around 112. That's when the crossover will be.
Of course, 2 reserves in this evening's race. Matthew obviously making his RDL debut in the McLaren, and EJ subbing in for Chase. Red J goes fast. Let's probably get a screenshot of that. Keep an eye on Red J. Oh, at 13.2.
Canadian power.
Move Red J.
Big Ledge Stroll fan when he's done it.
Move him into P1 then. Fantastic lap there from the Mercedes driver. But of course, we'll see if it's enough to get into Q2. And Obsessed in P8 right now. Things looking good for those two silver arrows in the early stages of qualifying here in Canada. And hopefully it'll continue that way for them.
I mean, we can only, like, obviously, for me now, personally, speaking from a driver's perspective on my own thing, I'm obviously out of pretty much both championships, so I now race for enjoyment purposes only. But it is also nice to see the stories brew as that commentator side. I've obviously did commentator review for just over a year, and it is so amazing to see people who may not be in the points regularly get points, and even as a driver, though you're in a competitive mindset, it's so lovely to see that still happen. So I do always wish the best for the two Mercs.
I think it's safe to say that the two Mercs are probably the most likable teammate pairing in the entire RDL paddock. Would you agree with that? If you had to give you one teammate pairing.
Yeah, I would probably say so.
Universally, when one of these two guys scores points, it's going to be absolutely fantastic scenes to see. They will get
better than England winning the World Cup, I imagine.
They will get as much of a call from me scoring points if they score points as they would, like say, Grumio winning a championship, for example. It's on that caliber because I want to see it that much. I can't help but root for these guys. Obviously, I'm meant to be impartial, but
there's impartial, and then there's just some incredible stories. I mean, we saw it with PJ as well, taking Poland, China. We both were in euphoria when that happens. It's just always great to see. We see typical people as there we are. That's the times that we're looking at. 109.7 there by Websy. That is just set the scene. And EJ as well. Only 6 tenths off Websy. That's a cracking lap there. 110.3.
Not bad at all, Pope. But I believe that's only about half a second or so from what I can see here. But yeah, just under 6 tenths actually. And there goes Curtis, going fastest by about 33 thousandths of a second over Websy, and the times are going to start dropping here. So we'll see who really has the speed in this late part of the session. 5.5 minutes to go, so I imagine we'll start getting some fully soft times in over the course of this session. Here comes Grumio towards the line for his start of his flying lap. We'll see how much he gets out of it. 1 minute 15.9 was his last effort on the intermediate tyre. So we'll see what he's got this time around. Well, of course, Grumio 16-point lead in the championship, but a big opportunity because, of course, EJ is in driving for Che tonight in place of Che. So that's a big opportunity for Grumio to try and gain some more points in the championship and try and put himself out of touch.
I mean, we've seen Dan obviously take a win at Imola, the first win in his RDL career, but I think there is still just that little bit of a gap between, I think, the top two, Che and Grumio. I think they are just alien-like how they drive, but Dan's consistency can really do him well here. He just needs to be in P2, make sure, obviously, for the constructors, Ferrari look pretty set, let's be real. As long as nothing goes haywire, they look pretty set to obviously take that championship. But for Dan, just try and make a nuisance for Grumio to obviously help his chances in the drivers' hunt. He's still there, but also for Che, who's missing out on this race.
Crucial stuff to do for Daniel Aron, who's rocking what I'm told is a Gilles Villeneuve tribute in tonight's race. Of course, Gilles Villeneuve, one of Canada's most famous Formula 1 drivers. Never a world champion himself, but always fierce and competitive race winner too. And always a daredevil by that of Formula 1 standards. So we'll see if Dan can channel that tonight as Red J channeled Lance Stroll's energy earlier on that initial lap. And obviously by Lance Stroll's energy, we mean Turkey 2020 specifically, and that being it.
Turkey 2020, and obviously in wet conditions, we're looking at Monza as well in, what was it, 2017?
That be the one?
Yeah. Was you even born then?
Oh! Hilarious. Curtis is around. He's around at the exit of turn at number 9 here. That's a wait for two cars to be reappearing here on his right. One of the RBs, one of the Aston Martins go through nice and easy, and Curtis can get on his way again. But he's P2 right now. JB retiring from the session. I can't imagine as to why. And JB's the first one to have lost the other world champions. How about that?
Oof, that is obviously a tough place to have an incident. Obviously for cars behind. Would be quite off-putting, but yeah, World of Champions, not a champion in the league though, so maybe it's a sign of things to come.
You never know. I mean, has the World of Champions ever predicted a future champion that same way?
I'm not too sure actually. I think that's a great question. You have to be looking back for a lot of RDL lore to get that answer.
I mean, even just in Formula 1 as well. Has anyone ever crashed into the World Champions and gone on to win the World Championship? We'll have to find that out.
Surely someone.
At least there's got to be someone. It's got to be Schumacher or somebody. I'm really not sure. I mean, when was the World Champions introduced? That's an important question, because I know this circuit's been through a change or two in its time.
That is true, yeah. I'll try and figure this out. Maybe I'll come back to you if I have any spare time during qualifying in the race, in the post-race interviews.
Sounds good, but of course we have still got a Grand Prix weekend to handle here, and it is still Grumio on top there. 1 minute 8.6. Pretty the time to beat for the majority of these front runners. We'll see what Imri's got as he comes through, but he's backed off a fair few times in this lap, so we won't be beating it this time. But in terms of the laps as it stands, Yogolu is currently the last car going through. Matthew is in the bottom 4. Ben is out. Courtney Godwin's in the pit lane still waiting on those intermediate tyres, and JB is out. So right now, Courtney Godwin needs to get himself onto the racetrack, because right now they're fighting for just one place, and that's against Matthew for P16. Yogolu is 1.7 seconds clear of Matthew right now, because Yogolu and AT now the full-time drivers for the Aston Martin team after weeks of chopping and changing by the higher ups over Aston Martin. But they've made their selections now. Yogolu and AT in for the foreseeable future. And AT P7 right now, made that P8, sorry, as Pope goes second fastest over the line there, sneaking up out of nowhere. Pope, where'd you come from?
I just thought, I'm going to have to get a lap in at some point. Obviously not a super strong lap, however, it'll do.
Should be enough to get you into the second part of qualifying. Connie Goblin's got the soft tyre on. We'll see in the Rebel Garage, should we see him emerge from the pit lane to go for one more run, or go for his first run rather, but he's running out of time here. But he better get himself, I don't think he's actually got enough time to actually make it round now. So it looks as though Courtney Goblin will be out of qualifying here. He'll be starting the P18 for the race, which means it all comes down to Matthew and whether or not he can try and top Yogolu's time on his RDL debut to avoid lining up 16th.
We can all hope so, as Imri now also displaces myself. So obviously the big, I think from myself to Grumio is quite a big gap, but obviously quite a small gap between me and Cott. So Grumio really showing what Che's missing here.
Matthew towards the line, going towards what will most likely be his final lap of the session. We are now into the final minute, so it should be we're into the final 30 seconds rather. So it should be an entertaining end to the session now. Pope retiring, calling it there. End of the session for him, but in P4 right now, but all set to go through. 10th Cameron, Yogolu, both retiring there. So it's just sort of packing a mill from Ethan in P10 down to Matthew in P16. One of those cars will go out. I'm thinking likely be Matthew here, but unless he's got a killer lap in the bank here, waiting to be unleashed. He is 2.5 seconds up at the first sector, so he could be on something here. We'll keep an eye out. But at the Obsessed Gamer, 1 minute 16.0 is now the time to be beating. Matthew, 5.4 seconds up, right, but he still needs a bit more in this last part of the circuit in order to get himself up into Q2 and knock Obsessed out. Red J, EJ, AT, Ethan, they're all safe. Connie Goblin obviously is out. It comes down to Obsessed and Matthew here. Does Matthew have enough to get himself into Q2? I think he does. Obsessed Gamer didn't get a... well, it doesn't look like he's got a soft tyre lap in. He'll be starting in potentially P16. He comes towards the line. There goes Matthew. Matthew's P14, and that will knock Obsessed Gamer out. Red J and the Mercedes get through to Q2. Grumio top session, Cop second, Imri, then Pope, then Websy on top 5. And that was an entertaining session. Of course, you saw the weather turn there. Grumio tops it. No surprises from the V's Cash Up RB driver. But going out then at the end of this session, those drivers will be Obsessed, Ben, Courtney Goblin, and JB. They'll be starting in the bottom 4 for the race. And we'll be joined by Lando potentially, should he join us later on. Pope, thank you for coming on to Q1. And we'll see you later, perhaps after the post-race interviews. And if you can get back and answer that question, please do. Because I'd like to know.
I'll get some research done, don't worry.
So that was us for Q1 then. It's time now to get Q2 underway. Here we go then, Q2 about to get underway here in Canada. We've whittled down to our last 15 drivers, and those drivers will fight for the spot in Q3. 10 of those to be going. The circuit now completely dry, so no real risk of rain, at least for now. But of course, should the search for the track cloud over again, that could be a potential problem for these guys. But we should see everyone handle it with poise as they did in the first part of qualifying. So back on the circuit then. The Aston Martin of AT leading them out. Of course, both Aston Martins making it into Q2. The current Aston pairing of Yogolu and AT yet to score a point between them over the course of the season. Of course, Aston Martin picked up a few points courtesy of James and Duck prior to James's departure and to Duck becoming a reserve. And we already have an answer from Pope on the Wall of Champions question. So the driver we're looking at, the driver in terms of who has crashed into the Wall of Champions and then gone on to win the World Championship, would be Jenson Button back in 2005, back when he was driving for BAR Honda. Of course, then went on to win the title in 2009 with Brawn in the incredible £1 team season. So could the JB Law follow for RJB, who obviously runs the exact same initials as the 2009 champ? Have to wait and see on that. But AT come across the line and start his first flying lap leading the field round. Keep an eye on what sort of lap he set to as he makes his way through turns 5 and up towards turn 6. 19.4 first sector, good start to the lap. In towards the DRS zone. Let's turn on telemetry here and have a look at just what's going on inside the mind, or rather inside the cockpit of Aston Martin. As he makes his way down in towards turn 8 and 9, that chicane. Very easy to get wrong. Very easy for the back end to step out a high speed corner such as that. But down towards the hairpin now, up towards the right hander of turn 10. Through 11 and now up towards the almost non-existent turn 12. DRS and deploy. Up towards the last two corners, avoiding the World Champions and coming towards the line. AT's first lap of this session will be a 1 minute 10.067. Curtis in second, 1 minute 11.2. One of the Haas cars coming through, that will be Imri, 1 minute 9.084. That's almost a second in front of AT. Cotton second, PJ third. Ethan now third, PJ down to fourth. Down to third place. EJ goes P7. Grimio validating this run. So not a good start to his first lap of the session. Of course, already gone for one lap and validated the first one. Now he's validated the second one too. So could be in trouble. See the champion back off here as he makes his way into 6 to accommodate for the Ferrari VJ. Both cars going slowly here on the run down towards turn 8. Put back on the racetrack after giving us that excellent bit of knowledge there. Let's see what he's got in his locker as he makes his way down towards 10 himself. Passing Grimmy on the way through. Of course, his teammate at the pole time right now, or top time to beat rather, 1 minute 09.084. That puts him just under a 10th in front of Cop. Webbsy in third, then down fourth. The two Sabres, Ethan and PJ, P5, P6. It's AT, followed by EJ, Yogolu, and Ted Cannon and Brandon at the top 10. And Curtis in 11th. Homer to P5 there, so that moves Curtis to P12. Red J, Grimio, and Matthew yet to set lap times. Matthew, of course, will be looking for a Q3 appearance if he can get there. And we'll see if we can avoid any crashes into the World Champions over the remainder of qualifying. Hopefully no one will go the same way JB did. So first run's more or less over for all these guys. Curtis staying out another lap here. He comes up towards the line. Oh, around he goes! And there goes the Alpine on corner exit. Lucky to avoid crashing out completely. Of course, he's in the bottom 5 right now, so that would bring about an end to his session. But Curtis make the slow trail towards the line here with damage on that front wing, and will cross it, remaining in P12. So 3 cars yet set lap times, 2 of which are at the circuit. Grumio is still in the pit lane. Of course, top 11 all in the pit lane right now. Top 10 of which go through into Q3. Up into the second sector now. Matthew across the split line now with a 41.6. Makes his way into the last sector. Cott retiring from the session from B2. I think it's assuming he's got it to make it into Q3, but it's still 8 minutes to go, so plenty of time. But I should imagine many people will improve on that. See what sort of time the McLaren driver puts on the board, reserving in place of Alvar tonight. P9 for Matthew, putting him into the top 10, knocking Yoglu out of that position for now. EJ holds the last spot by about a quarter of a tenth. And Dan retiring now as well. Of course, EJ's teammate for tonight's race. Looking for a good lap this time round as he makes his way off the last corner and back towards the line to start his next run. Of course, can't score points to the Constructors' Championship, so it's looking as it stands right now that neither team will gain ground in terms of RB and Ferrari. Neither team will gain ground just based off the fact that they got 1 car less in the race, because of course Lanod as of right now isn't here, and Ferrari only have Dan in the race. Because as Pope said, crucial that Dan can really stick with Grumio in tonight's race, and if not win the race, at least finish second. As Grumio goes fast as there, 1 minute 8.5, and the Pulsar has insane pace at this point in the Grand Prix. But of course, has retired from this race before. He's had 2 particularly poor seasons at the circuit. See, of course, season 16. Fell prey to the rain in the late state in the final 10 laps, and as a result didn't score. And in last season's race, got into an in-game bump at turn number 3, going through on the curb turn 3, and as a result crashing out almost on the spot. So it's been a season or 2 since Grumio has found the top step here at Canada. We'll see if that changes this evening. Unsure if there's any more talk in terms of whether over the remainder of Q2 or Q3. We're about to start to see a hint of that going into the end of Q2. So the top 50, so all 15 drivers now set lap times. The time speak for everyone. You need to get into the 1 minute 9s at least to get yourself into Q3 at this point. Let's run on board here with Reggie as he runs his lap. So Reggie over the line then, up to 1:11.2, but still stays in P15. So a lot of work to be done here in the closing 4 minutes of the session to try and get himself close to Q3, if not into Q3. PJ Khaled now the car in P10. Thanks to, of course, Grumio jumping up the order. Right now, 21 thousandths. Sorry, no, Yogolu is the 10th car to beat, but PJ's still on the racetrack. Slide there, go. Oh! And was that damage off the Sauber? It wasn't. He's lucky to still have both end plates in that car. That was awfully close for PJ Khaled. He makes his way up into turn 5, turn 6 and 7. That was very close to being a session ender. And given he's in P11. Of course, Kurt's in P8. Obviously had his own his own near calamity so far tonight. He's currently sitting just a bit behind that Sauber. Having backed off. I think perhaps going again for another effort this time around. So 2.5 minutes left. And Yogolu sits with the last car to go through. Here comes PJ towards the line now, doesn't improve. So we'll go again here. So we can lock it up on the way back to the pits. Imrie 10th up right now, but needs another half second to try and top Grumio, who's been far and away the fastest car so far tonight. The track clouding over. Imrie comes very close to that World Champions as he runs towards the line. Into 1 minute 8. 8.745. So 1.5 to go now, still waiting on potentially thinking, should we see any late changes in terms of the top 10? PJ invalidates. EJ is down on his previous effort. Matthew's up. He needs a bit more right now. Could this lap be enough for Q3 potentially? Matthew up towards the line. P14 now. And at the line, P8 for Matthew. So we could see another RDL debutant get into Q3 at the first time of asking here if he can hang on for the next minute or so. And it'd either AT, PJ or EJ or Red J improve. A lot of J's in there, but we'll see if anyone make an improvement. Tennecan and Yogolu both out of qualifying now. Unable to change. Okay, we'll get ourselves out of the top 10. Get ourselves outside of the bottom 5. 45 seconds to go. There's still plenty of time for change. AT's out on the racetrack. Currently safe in Q3, holding the last holds transfer spot. PJ is down. EJ is on his final lap. PJ 5.7 now, needs to get himself back to the line in time. Will he be able to have enough time to do it? "15 seconds. I think he might just make it. He's off to the pit lane though. Calling it quits then for Q2. And PJ is out. So EJ the last car that can get himself up into Q3. EJ through a split. Quarter of a second up. That should be enough for him. Just. And let's be to knock AT out. And put both Aston Martins out at Q2. And put both Ferraris into Q3. Down in P7 right now. So it's not been fantastic with the Scuderia thus far. Grumio is far and away the fastest car in the order. He tops Q2 from Imrie, then Pope the top 3. So the Haas car is remaining dangerously quick through to the end. EJ towards the line. Can he beat AT's time? He can. 1 minute 1.9.758. So enough for 9th place, and that will knock AT out along with Yoglu, PJ, 10th Cannon, and Red J. So there's your results. Then Grumio tops the session from Imre and Pope. Cop finishes 4th, then Curtis 5th. Your bottom 5 in the top 10, Websy, Dan, Matthew, EJ and Ethan. Both reserves get into Q3. AT, Yoglu, PJ Khaled, 10th Cannon, and of course Red J all finding their end in this second session. Now it's time for the shootout of pole position, coming your way in just a matter of moments. So here we go then, time for Q3. Time to find out who will be on pole position for the Canadian Grand Prix. Round 9 of the Season 18 of the Racers Driving League. And so far it's been one favourite in Grumio. But now the rain has arrived. All of a sudden we could be in for a bit of a cracker in this last part of the session as the rain has started to fall down again. Intermediate weather once again bringing out those green wall tyres. And we'll see who's got the speed. Imre leading them round then. Everyone except Websy out on the racetrack for their first runs this last session. We'll see what last week's pole has. Can he go back to back in terms of qualifying positions? It's time to find out. Doing 21.9, obviously considerably slower than the first sector. Obviously thanks to the weather. Up towards turns 8 and 9 now. Bit of a slide down entry, but keeping it under wraps more or less. Avoiding that back end. And up in towards the last sector now, head up towards turn 13 and 14. The Wall of Champions is waiting. Imre, of course, thrives in these conditions. He's gone almost 2 seasons since his first victory, but it was in these sort of conditions in Hungary he managed to take home that race win. But he's invalidated his first effort, so a lot of work still to be done. So it's looking like in terms of the first time, by the time he set the session, we go courtesy of Daniel Aaron in the only Ferrari in Q3. And towards the line, be 1 minute 18.2. And Grumio faster, 1 minute 17.5. Dan second, Curtis third, Pope in 4th place. Here comes Cop towards the line. Pope cut into second place. Ethan on his way through. Ethan will go 5th. Matthew towards the line as Q3 debut. Matthew will go 5th himself. Imre invalidates again. Not a good start to qualifying here. EJ invalidates his second lap. Websy 47.0 in his second sector. Of course, no DRS in play this time around. Let's make it up towards turn 13. Towards the line now. See also time got in Malka. 18.4. It's enough for 4th place in the grid right now. But EJ and Imre obviously both invalidated both efforts here, so in trouble. Grumio still fast right now. Down in P2, which is more or less where he needs to be. But obviously, a victory for Grumio means that both Che and Dan lose ground in the championship. Dan, with a second place finish, can move to within 2 points of his teammate in the Drivers' Championship, but of course will lose as a result 7 points to Grumio, putting him 43 back. 44 if Grumio probes out. And it looks like the issues from last week continue to plague him. Of course, the issue that cost him the race in Monaco. He was on for a good lap as well. It's a shame to see. It'll be at most P6 for Pope here. Imre into that lap here going again. EJ coming up towards the line. Lalo has joined us, so but obviously Lalo will start dead last in this race. And for once, once Lalo joined late, will be given the right car because there's only one other car to be taken in this session, which is always good. So Lalo will not be driving for another constructor in tonight's race. So he'll be driving under the RB name 4RB. And the track almost looking quite snowy as Imre makes his way through. Obviously that's just the light. But it looks like it's been snowing rather than raining, which would be amusing to see. But towards the line here, Imre comes through for what could be the start of his final run. EJ retires. And what has happened to him? I think he's just pulled the car recorder there. Well, that is odd, but we need P9 from right now. P10, I assume, given that Imre will likely improve and will likely beat that 1 minute 29.3. Dan towards the line now. No improvement though. 8 tenths down in his previous effort. Down then into the towards the end of the first sector, looking for a strong run. 1.5 seconds down, so a lot of work to be done there. Matthew is out lap. Ethan is sort of starting his next run. Imre still invalid and really struggling here in the late stages. And it's not looking good for Haas at this point. Both of them in the bottom half of the top 10. Towards the line, wouldn't be pole pace. He'll continue on. Just looking for that time to get him onto the board. Meanwhile, down towards the line, doesn't improve. 3 minutes to go. This pole position looks to be all Grumio at this point. This appears to be his day as of right now. No one seems capable of stopping him. And Curtis slowing here on corner exit. Get the damage again potentially. Let's see what the Alpine looks like on the way past. End plate gone. Oh, is that both end plates gone on that Alpine? No, just the one. Just the one on the right. So you can add a skirmish with the World Champions. Apologies, I looked away at the wrong time. But Curtis has damage on. I think that could potentially be the end of his session. P5 at best for the Alpine driver. He's been on those tyres for 5 laps. And that same set of intensity the entire time. Though. And retiring it there. There it is. So Curtis putting the car over. Game over for the Alpine for that. But still a top 10 star going into the Grand Prix, so nothing to be too disappointed about. We'll see if they can convert some good points. Imrie still not improving too much. Dan retiring here. Pulled it into the pits, and the rain looks to be getting stronger at this point, not lighter. So this could be all we see out of these guys. But Dan also retiring now from P2. Grumio staying on the racetrack. The pole position set for him. I think he wants to get as much running in the wet conditions as he can. Unsure in terms of the situation for the race, in terms of rain. Let's take a rain check on that. Ethan up towards the line, validating his effort. Probably time for one more lap out of these guys here. About 10 seconds left when Ethan comes back to the line, provided that he runs at maximum pace this time round. Grumio retiring. So it's 5 drivers all out. Cott and Webbsy still in the pit lane. Cott retires. Matthew in the pits, so can't finish a lap. Emery towards the line. P6 best for him. It's P6. Webbsy retires, so it's just Ethan still on the racetrack. Matthew in the pits, will likely retire. Ethan and Emery still on laps. Emery retiring there, so game over for him, P6 at the line. So it looks as though Grumio's on pole for this race. And Matthew in the pit lane, his session's over. Ethan will come through to the line, that'll cap this one off. Can he improve it at all in the closing laps? He's pulling the car over. And it looks to be it. So Grumio's on pole then. Dan will start second from Cott third, Webbsy fourth, Curtis fifth, Emery sixth, Pope seventh, Matthew eighth, Ethan ninth, and EJ Ramsey on top 10. So that's your starting order. And as Ethan draws towards the line, that's the end of qualifying, and we're back with you shortly for the start of the Grand Prix. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Canadian Grand Prix. Round 9 of Season 18 of the Races Driving League, and we are in for what should be a fantastic Grand Prix. The weather has dried up a fair bit here in Montreal, and we should be in for, like I say, a fantastic race. Of course, Grumio leads the championship, is on pole for this Grand Prix. Che not here, so the onus in terms of scoring points for Ferrari now falls. That's Daniel Aaron, and of course EJ will reserve in Che's place. Lan will join us midway through qualifying, so we'll start from the back of the field in the RB. Looking to try and charge up and get some more points. He sits in 6th place in the standings, 45 points, tied with 10th Cannon for that position. So it'll be entertaining to see how he can drive through the field. And of course, will we see some more rain in this Grand Prix? There's a lot to be sorted through over the course of the next 35 laps or so of actions. This should be a very, very entertaining affair.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres. As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, and failing that, within the points.
So Grumio then lines up into row 1 on the pole for this Grand Prix. 16-point lead in the Drivers' Championship, but Che not here, so the nearest driver in the race today in the championship is Dan, 36 points back. He'll sit alongside the reigning champion going to turn 1. JB and Lando occupying the last 2 spots on the grid here. Everyone's in place now, full 20 cars, ready to go for 35 laps here in Canada. The lights are on. Lights up with the floor. We are racing here in Canada. Good start there from Grumio. Dan, they're charging down towards that first corner into turn 1. It is Grumio side by side going into what's this first couple corners. Dan, it has a bit of a... What is going on with my controller? Grumio away with the lead over Dan, and then Curtis in 3rd place. What has happened? Why can't I do anything on my controller? What is this? Bear with me, apologies. Back in next, here we go. Right, Grumio away from Dan, then Curtis in P3, Cott 4th, Imrie, then Wesley, Matthew, Pope, EJ, AT, or top 10. Landed up 2 places on the initial race start. Good gets away from the RB drivers, so they make their way up in towards the 3rd sector. Grumio into an early advantage, and he leads the way. Everyone keeping it nice and tidy here as of right now. Everyone leaving the turn 10 hairpin nice and clean here. No real dramas on the way through. Of course, DRS being played in a lap's time down this next straight, so that'll be crucial later on. Pope making the pass on David Tom Matthew going into turns 13 and 14 in towards the World Champions. The slide there from Pope from corner exit, he maintains his place. Grumio leads the first lap of the race then. On to lap 2. JB passing obsessed. Of course, JB the only car to have found the Wall of Champions so far today. Hopefully be the last one to find it. Obsessed and Courtney Goblin going side by side for P19. Obsessed wins out. And the first DRS zone set to come into play here. Telemetry going on for Daniel Aaron. Let's have a look here at the DRS going into play. There's a good run going towards Taylor. We most likely be setting up for a run going down towards the first corner. Of course, 3 DRS zones coming almost one after the other. The first one being between turns 7 and 8. EJ with the time penalty there. That's 3 seconds multiple warning, the first of the evening. And the second DRS zone is going up into, or down towards the Wall of Champions. DRS in play here for Dan. Goes wide open once again as he charges down towards the corner. Grumio has used a lot of his ERS early on here, so Dan will look to try and close the best he can. Grumio not using that. He was on hot lap for a second, switches it down to medium. Caught passing Curtis on the way through turn 13. Good move there from the Williams driver over the Alpine. EJ passing Matthew now. AT right behind him. Dan with a fastest lap, close to faster than Grumio that time around thanks to the DRS. It's the sort of effect it has. AT on the inside of Matthew looking for place number 9 on the outside going towards turn 2. Both of them side by side. The outside line gets the better drive off, and Matthew almost opened the door for Ethan to go for a move. And Matthew got damage here. He's lost an end plate early on, so a bit of damage on that McLaren. Not a fantastic start then. Obviously in place of Alvaro for this Grand Prix. Then the yellow flag in front, and who is that? Well, that's Curtis. Has some kind of problem here. He's off the circuit. Contact, and around go 2 cars. Oh, and everyone gets stacked up here. Big crash they're going into on the exit of turn at number 7. VSC deployed. A lot of loose debris on the racetrack. A lot of end plates have been lost there. But Curtis and I believe that was AT colliding there. Or was it Yoglu? I'm not entirely sure. Yoglu's lost his whole wing. Has AT's got damage? I know it's AT. No loss in that car, but he took a nudge and Curtis spun out. And obviously everyone stuck behind him. So Curtis now down to dead last with a lot of work to do. With VSC out in this Grand Prix now. Grumio and Dan, their chase brought to a brief stop, but still continuing on at speed. Into turn 1. Keeping nice and under control. Just waiting now for the green flag to come out. A lot of cars in pit lane 5 to be exact. Landlord's in. Followed by Obsessed, Ben, Yoglu, PJ, those 5 all in. The green flag goes back in the air. Racing again on lap number 4. Early contact then. Not how a lot of these guys would want their Grand Prix to get underway in the opening couple of laps. Dan is chasing Grumio once again now, so they run up towards turn number 8. See that gap being closed there between the Ferrari and the RB. And the Williams have caught behind them, so the top 3 all a bit of a train here as of right now. It's another second and a half back to Websy. So Imri's got a mirror full of Websy right now. Pope in 6th place, EJ 7th, Matthew 8th, Ethan 9th, 80 still on to that last points paying place. But Matthew had damage, so perhaps struggling early on. Yes, I think he had damage. Yes, he does. On that, he's lost that left end plate on his McLaren. Websy getting around Imri now. We'll keep DRS as a result of the last corner. As a result of being behind at the detection point, which is going down into turn number 10. On to lap 5 then. Dan is still giving Grumio pressure. That's all he can really do right now. So we're looking to try and go for RDL win number 2. Looking to win his 2nd Grand Prix in 3 races. Pope 3-second time penalty. That's the 2nd of the Grand Prix being handed out. The first one obviously to EJ. EJ and Matthew can't score points, so points then fall to Ethan 80, 10th, and Courtney Goblin. So both the Red Bulls on quarter points as it stands. And there is AT got a penalty. Down towards turn 13 once again. It's still Dan chasing, but Cott, Websy and Imri have all closed that gap. So the top 5 all close together now. All of them in the second each other to make their way through towards the World Champions again. And it's the only champion in that train that actually leads them round. Of course, the other champion in the grid being Pope. Pope in the pit lane here. And he's retiring. Perhaps the wheel is given in. Perhaps not running the risk of the wheel not holding up, which means we could get a visit from him potentially in the commentary box, which is perhaps not the way we wanted to see it, but yellow flag, and as a result, Pope the first retirement from the Grand Prix, and will we see him perhaps joining us in a moment? Have to wait for a minute. In the meantime, though, it's still Grumio up front, followed by Dan, then Cott, Websy, and Imri are top 5. Those guys staying as they are. It's now Matthew in P6, doing a fantastic job. EJ P7, currently both of them being chased by Ethan. 3 seconds back to AT, and 10th Cannon, the last car in the top 10. Points will then go down to Courtney Golden and Red J. Landor and P18 right now, obviously not a fantastic start from being caught up in that incident with Curtis early on, but Curtis is in P14 right now, so that's not too poorly. I said points could definitely still be on the cards for him should he put up towards the front of the order, but Courtney Golden holding on to P11 right now as it stands. There's ready to the inside, looking at that move stick, but he backs out of it, giving Courtney room. Of course, Courtney scored for the first time in this season in Monaco last time out. So 2 points to help the Red Bulls chase in the Constructors. They're in P7, they're in P6 right now, sorry, in terms of the Constructors Championship. EJ and Ethan right now. You see EJ looking around, looking for some sort of opening if he can, go for it. And PJ now with a 3-second penalty. Lap 8 then, this Grand Prix flying by so far. EJ making the pass on Matthew to get himself up into 6th place. Ben reconnects, so back in the Grand Prix running P19 right now. Long way to go though. Still over 30, still it's under 30 laps to go. Websy into 3rd, now making the pass on his teammate. Imre following those guys' wake. And Dan Grumio trying to pull away here as it stands. Grumio having it all to himself right now. It's not he's yet to actually be challenged for the race lead in terms of a direct move for position. Again, like Grumio holds his lead for now. Ray James pit lane here. That's that early stop. Oh, and that's a wing change in the ODS. Yes, it is. Wing change for the Mercedes driver. So he gets himself back onto the racetrack shortly. Away he goes. It's this game in P14 right now. So of course said he felt strong, or at least stronger than usual going into this race weekend. Obviously we'll see what you can get out of this one. Lack of penalties so far. Of course, 4 drivers in front of you all have them, all having 3 seconds each. If we'll double check that. Conley with 10 seconds. I think caught those being caught in that yellow flag earlier on. But Conley then currently chasing JB. Curtis was behind those guys. He's going to P11 now. So back on the charge again and not doing too badly in this Grand Prix. Oh, and as I said, he slides going in towards the right-hander at turn 10. Keeping it under control though. And this 3-car train in front of him continues on, being led by EJ. Matthew now at the back of the train. He's actually losing a bit of time to Ethan and EJ. Red J with a time penalty now. And Dan, it's about half a second back at the minute from Grumio. Grumio closing up to Ben. He's going to nab DRS then. Ben letting these guys all go. We're still sat in P5 right now. He stands in his first win of the season. He has been untouchable for the most part, save for the Ferraris. Only 2 different race winners this season. Those races have been Grumio and Che. Sorry, and Dan. That's 3 race winners, apologies. So 2 of the race winners are in the Grand Prix running 1-2 that stands. So lap 11. Keep an eye on those 2 Williams cars will be giving them trouble over the next few laps. And Matthew come back at Ethan, can't do it for now. Cannon trying to warm per tyres and they're struggling here. Perhaps on those hards early on. Just being tailed by AT, P10, that's in P10. And Curtis, Connie, JB. JB in the pit lane here. Just going on over down to Alpine. JB's been on those medium tyres about 9 laps or so. No end blade loss, so it's just a tyre change onto the hards and now getting away. JB join around Red J. Just in front of Red J there. So JB, P17 right now. Red J, and then Ben obviously a lap down. Still in control here, but when does Dan go for that opportunity, he needs to try and take the lead. Imri in the pit lane. That's the first of the top 5 to bite here in terms of making a change onto another set of tyres. PJ in the time penalty. Matthew now gets one too. Oh, there goes off. That's caught into the wall. Recovers it, lets Matthew get through. Sorry, no, that's Ben going through. In terms of damage, just the end plate loss for Cott there. But obviously that without doubt forced his hand. They were coming to the pits for the first time this afternoon here on lap number 12. Thanks to Imri pitting, that now just leaves 3 cars on this train. We could see all of them going to the pits at the same time here. But three different teams, 3 different drivers here. Grumio, Dan, and Websy. Cott's still at P4, but obviously got to wait for 10 seconds back now from Websy. Then we see him make a stop. Everyone's staying out here. JB, 3-second penalty. Work to be done there. So Cott now in the pit lane then. And no doubt be a wing change and hard tyres going on, excuse me. And he's making his way through on the attack. Let's run on board with Daniel Aaron as he makes his way through. Oh, Grimmy with a slide there going down in towards turn 7. Let's run on board with Dan as he tries to take the lead off of Grimmy. Safety car's out. Not entirely sure who for though. There's no retirements in the race. That's Ben with the lack of front wing on that race car. That might be it. Ben out of the race. Safety car deployed then for the first time today. Obviously had the VSC early on, but DJ and Imri closing back up. Do we see a lead change potentially? I think all 3 cars should get out in front. Yes, they will. Opportunity lost there. You never know. Given how close it was, we could have potentially seen Imri jump all of these cars. Was that just bad time for the safety car there? Yeah, regardless, everyone's in. So Ben becomes the second driver to retire from this Grand Prix. But of course, wasn't the one who brought the safety car by the looks of it. In terms of, I'm not entirely sure. There was nobody who had retired prior to being employed, so I had to look further into that at some stage to see exactly what it was that caused it. But Grimio, his lead being cut to size. Dan in second, Websy third, EJ fourth. There's Imri, Ethan, Cott 10th, PJ and Matthew at top 10. The order from there goes 80 11th, and it's Cotney Goblin 12th, JB 13th, Red J 14th, Ethan 15th, and it's Landlord, Ursas Gamer, and Yoglu, the last of running cars. Ben P19 and Pope obviously out of the race along with Ben. So we've got just over 20 laps to go right now as we cross the line. Waiting for everyone to catch up back up with the pace car. Sorry, take the safety cars, can't again. Goes back to racing again. the cars are catching up. Goggle will be the last one to catch the train here. And we should get a restart this time around. Imagine when we come down to split at the end of the second sector, we should get a message here from race control. Deeming that we're going to go back to racing again. And Goggle catches up. There it is, safety car in this lap. So Grimmy will lead them back around. Dan second, Websy rounds of those put in place, but Dan be itchy to keep going again. So we'll see if there's a move to be made at all. Or Grimmy will go early and late or late in this restart. There's a number of places you could go. Wait until after turn 14 to go. Not yet. Dan is there behind him. Grimmy backing him up. And now hit and go. There he goes. But everyone close together now is going towards turn 1. Well, everyone keep it together going through this first corner. Everyone nice and under control here in the opening stages of this race restart. Oh, a bit of contact there in the back. I think that was Landlord that got a bit of damage. I'm not sure. No plate loss on that RB for now. A lot of smoke. It looks like I'm seeing debris flying around. I'm not entirely sure it's who it is. But everyone gets way aside from that nice and clean. We'll probably get a sense of who it is. If anyone's got damage at this point. Everyone's single file here. So for a few challenges, Matthews to the inside, or to the outside of PJ going in towards turn 10. Ethan looking around. Cool contact! And Imri's been turned. There goes the Haas car off the circuit. We didn't even say he's managed to save it, but he's now outside of the points. And aggressive moves there, perhaps not paying off for some drivers and obviously causing a blockade for others. Imri's been caught by someone in midway through turn 10. Oh, slightly off the last corner. Tries to be Curtis, but there's Landlord passing him, and Imri's fallen down the order dramatically here. No damage on the end plates for that Haas car. It looks all okay to try and work them back up again, but just frustrating to be caught up in a situation such as that. Top 3 are full away here. Grimmy leads down Websy. It's 3 seconds from back from Websy to EJ. He's got 10 Matthew and PJ Callum on his tail. There goes JB to the inside of Cockney Goblin. 2 veterans here going side by side. Red J and Curtis right behind these guys. Curtis gets away in corner exit into P12 now. Landlord is there behind them, keeping an eye on Imri too. Been a very exciting restart so far. Clock passing EJ now for P5 as they went the way through the hairpin. Now down, let's try and go on the attack. We're going to go on hot lap BRS, so maintaining the energy there. Down, closing the gap. Won't go for the overtake as of just yet. Either in terms of battery or in terms of actually making a move. Anyone going for anything going in towards turn 13, not for now. But down the main straight could be a second chance here. Matthew and PJ still side by side going towards that first corner into turn 2 now. The outside drive almost always a drive off, but this time it's the inside. Matthew holds on 7th place. PJ will continue to hunt him down. We hit the halfway stage of this Grand Prix. Almost there within the second of each other right now. Oh, Imri's out of the race. Another safety car's out. Is that a crash? Didn't catch it, but so apologies there, but Imri is out of the Grand Prix. Both Haas cars now out. The safety car comes out for the second time in this Grand Prix, just the halfway stage. What on earth has happened to Imri? And this could be the opportunity some of these guys are looking for, in particular PJ and EJ. Imagine we could see both of them in here to get off those worn, hard tyres. Number of cars all coming in here. Can put on another set of mediums there. She's away. EJ medium to go on that car. Imri, a poor restart turned a lot worse. 10th, EJ, Cott, Matthew, Reggio, Obsessed, all in. Mercedes double stacking, and that is for a wing change for Obsessed. So another car at the race, they've done 17 in this thing. Imri joins Ben and Pope back in the paddock out of the race. What a Grand Prix it's been so far. And still, it's about 16 laps to go. It's this game of the last cars for closing up. Once he closes back up, we'll be able to get a restart going again. We really didn't get a lot of time to get racing there. In terms of penalties, we've got 9 drivers who have them at this point. PJ, AT and JB all with 6. Cotty Golden with 10 seconds himself. And Yoglu with 3. EJ with 6. Matthew with 3. Reggio with 15. And Obsessed with 3. Grimmy then had a pretty comfortable race so far. It's sort of short of Dan putting him under pressure. There's no real risk to the pit stop right now. He's got a free stop under the first safety car. We don't really get enough racing here to warrant the second move for Dan. Everyone's caught up now. Obsessed now back in the field. We should get a restart this time. 15 laps to go and we cross the line. It should be a very enjoyable race restart. And there it is. Safety car comes in this lap. So we'll see now what Grimio has in the tank. Of course, last time left it a bit later to go. Let's see if he goes early this time, perhaps goes late this time around again. Waiting for Grimio to make his move. There he goes! He goes a lot early this time and is pulled away by a decent advantage as they make their way down towards the line. 15 laps to go here in Canada. And this has looked like Grimio's race for a little while here. Down with a 3-second penalty. And that won't help his case. As the race leader has it all to himself. Yellow flag again as Reggio has gone around. Recovers the car, but now stuck down in P17. Grimio now already a second to the good over Dan. And Webb's will be hunting that Ferrari down. PJ 4th, and it's 18. And JB, Curtis, Landon in the top 10 now. Curtis makes the pass from JB. The two teammates going side by side. JB letting his teammate through. At least to my mind he is. On the run up towards turn 8 through turn 9. Landon passing Connie Goblin here. Ethan behind those two, looking for a move if he can. Connie with 10 seconds of penalties going in towards this next right-hander on the outside. Ethan looking in. Yogalu looking for a place off the 10th cannon behind him as well. EJ behind, caught in P14 right now. So a number of strong cars all struggling right now. Of course, Grimio keeping them all at bay. It's 1.6 to good here, 14 laps to go. 1 minute 10.8, fastest lap to his name too. So the bonus point fast lap is going his way as well. And DRS obviously enabled. Obviously into turns 8 and 9 now. Obviously hunting Dan. Okay, struggling to keep up here. Goes to the pass on PJ for P4 right now. They're still going side by side. It's Curtis who gets DRS. And PJ could get swallowed here by the cars behind if he's not careful. Here comes AT to the inside. Going in towards turn 13. Gets to place. PJ backs out of it. Moves back into line. Two guys going side by side. Corrects it. He doesn't work. Around goes Ethan. And there goes Yogolo as well. Contact. Yogolo's out. Cott's out. Matthew resets. Safety car again. Yogolo and Cott both get caught up at the last corner. Matthew with no win left in that car. Ethan gets a piece of it too. Obviously causing the initial spin, and we're back under the safety car once again. I'm disconnected over. Yeah, I might have disconnected. What was that? I mean, that'd be a good time for it if I'm under the safety car. I think it appear I have. I mean, it's good timing for it. Or is that a red flag, or is it? There was no sign of a red flag. What was that? Oh, it is a red flag. Okay, right then. So no risk. I haven't disconnected, but the red flag has been called, and there was no sign of it on the graphic because the graphics don't work for spectators. So we're all okay. But a red flag has been deployed. I think we should get back to racing now. Here we go. Well, 10 laps to go in this thing, and all of a sudden everyone's back. We're back to racing again. Everyone on medium tyres. And after that brief shortage, we're back to racing again. Lights out once again. Who gets the better drive off? Dan with a good start this time on the right hand side, going towards turn 1. He's alongside Grimio. They're side by side through turns 1 and 2. And Dan with a good corner exit. Could jump into the lead, but Grimio goes side by side with him down to turn 3. Who gets the better entry going in? Grimio around on the inside. Dan crosses over. Dan's still there, dueling with the championship leader and the reigning world champion. There goes Curtis on the outside. Grimio's got the lead. Curtis is looking for second. Where's Websy? Websy making it 3 wide on the way down towards turn 8. Gutsy move from Websy. Will it pay off? Contact. There goes Websy. There goes Dan off the circuit. Dan rejoins in P2. But that was close there. I think got a penalty for a legal overtake. Oh, contact again. There is one of the McLaren sending it down the inside. That's Matthew going for it. And you can see his end plate being left behind there in the middle of turn 10. What chaos this has been so far in Canada today. I imagine we'll see Matthew in this. No, he stays out on the racetrack, keeping it on, keeping it going. DRS back in play here. Dan into down to P4, being challenged by AT for P5. I think Dan getting a legal overtake for taking the runoff area there. Of course, the move Websy made was legal. He was allowed to force the issue and go 3 wide. Obviously, the game's hasn't taken Dan's runoff too lightly. But I'm sure that we'll get the stewards looking at that later on in the week. Grimio, though, it's back to business for him. 1.9 to the good now over Curtis, who sits in second place. Websy third. PJ and AT fighting in position here going into turn 8. He gets the better run. Oh, AT got off there. AT rejoining it. No penalty for him. I imagine he must have got a warning or something like that for corner cutting. Perhaps he got a legal overtake too. Going back up to PJ, lost the place to Landlord in the end as well. A bit of contact there. I think it was a bit of contact. Might have been a bit of a slide on corner exit. There goes AT down to P8 now. Websy making the pass on Curtis for second place. Grimio now 2.2 in front. And just hauling ass right now as he makes his way off the corner and up towards the line. Landlord and PJ penalty there. There's just 5 drivers left in this race who haven't gotten from a full grid. Grimio win at 10.5, the fastest lap of the race once again. And this race of chaos, it's been all Grimio today. Except for Dan giving him constant pressure, he's had no real challenge for that position. He just had cars trying to keep on him, trying to force him into an error of some kind. Speaking of, I think that's what Dan's trying to do to Curtis here. Has that Ferrari lost an end plate? I think it has. No end plate on that right side. Passing on lap 25. There goes Dan to the inside of Curtis now into turn 8. Locks up, but gains the place, and there goes over the curb there. That's a 3-second penalty for Dan. And JB gets one too. Dan sends it down the inside on Curtis. Contact! Dan lucky to avoid spinning out there. They'll stay side by side on the run up towards the corner. But it's Curtis who got DRS out of that. The looks of it. He got DRS. Dan didn't. Dan finds him under pressure from Lando on the run out turn 14. Going back towards the line here. Grumio onto lap 28 this Grand Prix. We're inside the final 10 laps of this thing. A number of cars with penalties means we could see a number of cars with solid results in this race. There is the full list of penalties. As the pack's all close together, we could see perhaps even, I mean, both the Mercs have penalties that could be concerns for him. I was hoping for him we'd have to see them in the points. Red Jig another 3 there. It's 18 seconds to his name. Obsessed Gamer's got 6. Matthew could find himself still scores first in a top 10 place here. Obviously won't score as a reserve. Neither will EJ, but EJ sits in 9th place right now. He makes a move on 18 to the inside, going up towards turn 8, but thinks better if it keeps in line. Might find himself on the attack from Red Jays to make their way out of turn 9 and towards 10. PJ doing a little train in the top 6. I say train. Webbsy's pulling away from Curtis, but in turn Grimmer's pulling away from Webbsy. Can Dan try and get Curtis back? Of course, Curtis was a brick wall in Monaco, but a lot more space to overtake here in Canada than there is in Monaco. Lap 29, 80. Oh, bit of contact there on corner exit. A number of cars all squads going. I saw someone lose an end plate, not sure who. Because EJ's lost both of his. No end plate and a lot of wing being lost with that Ferrari. You see how it's effective there? Look at that. A lot of time lost for EJ then. Grimmy, then Webbsy, then Curtis. Still your top 3. And of course those 3 cars all without penalties here, so set for a podium as it stands. If things stay how they are. 10th Cannon and Ethan once again. And the cars without penalties. 10th going to go on another race here. In terms of these tracks heavy on track limits, she is very good at avoiding them. I'll have to be sure to have to let her know this as she makes her way through. Looking like a pass on Red J for 8th place here, down the inside, going into the corner. Holding on to it, and there it is. There is the proof you need. The Red J still on her tails, making her way up towards turn 1 again. Won't send it down the inside, thinks better of it. 18 seconds will likely drop him out of the points. Just have 6 seconds. Oh, a bit wide there. Out turn 4. It's a line you're often to your overtake. No damage done to that Mercedes right now. No lack of them plates in that race car at all. We're going to go 3 seconds in front of Webbsy now. There'll be 5 laps to go across the line this time around. Dan finally making the pass on Curtis and getting DRS to boot. Lando might try and come back at Curtis to try and give the Alpine a bit more to think about. Staying close to Grimmy with the penalty. And that could be big. He's got 3 seconds on Webbsy, but he's got to stay in that range now. Curtis with 3 seconds too. Just 3 cars in this race left for that penalties in this Grand Prix. Grimmy still on course to win this race because he's 3 seconds clear of Webbsy, but he now knows he's all of a sudden down on knife edge. Another penalty and it could be curtains for him. With the right permutation of things going on in his final 5 laps, Webbsy could still win Williams' first win of the season. And his first wins into Miami back in season 17. Over a season ago. And 10th Cannon could be running up with perhaps the top 6 finish here. Dan holding 3 or 4 cars at bay here. Curtis and Lando right behind. PJ also in tow, about a second back. It's JB leading 10th, then Red J. And Ethan, your top 10. AT, Obsessed, Matthew, EJ and Cotney behind. Those 15 cars still running as Grumio leads with 4 to go. But what a chaotic race this has been. Perhaps more chaotic than usual. I mean, now 4 seconds in front of Websy would need. Websy would need another penalty for Grumio in order to actually have a stand chance to win this race. Down P7, doing a good job here, looking to close the gap to the cars in front. Could potentially, she keeps working, could potentially finish as high as 3rd. She can close the gap a bit more. She's about 6 or so seconds back. Curtis and Van will be looking at podium here. They're fighting now. That's what they could be on for. With the right permutation of events. He's got it all to himself right now. He's got to bring the car home. The last 2.5 laps. Real across the line for lap 34. A slide from JB. Good put him under pressure from Ethan here on the run up towards turn 13. Both cars have DRS courtesy of Red J. JB will close that gap to the Mercedes in front. It'll be interesting to see here exactly who ends up where in the late stages of Grand Prix. It'll take us a minute to actually get the final results noted, but there's 3 drivers right now with no penalties. Websy, 10th Cannon and Ethan, all without them in this point in the Grand Prix. It's been a crazy and calamitous evening here in Canada. Obsessed fighting Matthew for P11, of course. Obsessed may know at this point that what is on the line, he perhaps may get a point or two. He's bringing the car home because obviously the reserves don't score. EJ's behind him, Matthew's in front. AT also has 6 seconds off penalties. Those two could be fighting for the last points place if they're not careful. Landlord passing Curtis. Those two going side by side up towards turn 12 and 13. Landlord in front. Curtis, no DRS for him off of Dan. And Landlord has fought back here to what looks to be a podium finish. Unless he gets a penalty in this last lap. But Grumio starts the bell lap. 1 more to go here in Canada. Websy in second, on course for a solid finish. If Grumio gets a penalty in this last lap and doesn't gain the last 8 tenths, Websy could still win this race. So he's driving now, keeping his eye on the 3 seconds that could potentially become 6 should something go wrong for Grumio. Grumio knows he's still to keep a steady lead now. Doesn't have to do anything too aggressive. Can just bring the car home, coax it back to the flag. And take home another win to help add to his championship lead. Landlord looks to have a podium set. RB looking good for points today. Very solid points too. Grumio's in complete control here. He's had it all to himself. No one is. He's took the pole and has not relinquished the lead for the entirety of these 35 laps. Not even in the pit stops. And if my mind is correct, he's got the fastest lap too. It's going to be a grand slam for Grumio, who runs to the line and wins here in Canada. Won the race, fastest lap, started on pole and led every lap. Websy through for second. Fantastic podium for Williams there. Lando will finish in third, Curtis fourth, Dan in fifth. PJ comes over the line, but likely 10th will take that place thanks to the penalties. 10th, home in 6th place. PJ now 7th. JB towards the line 8th. Yellow flag, and that's Obsessed has got off. At the last corner there, what's happened to the Mercedes car? Could that be the end of the dream points-wise? Towards the line, Pete fell for him. What happened in the last corner? Were points on the cards for those Mercedes boys? Game over for them. Courtney got across the line, P15. Grumio wins it. So in the race that included two safety cars, a virtual safety car, and a red flag, and 5 DNFs. Grumio will take the flag and take another victory this season. But I'm as confused as anyone as to what just happened with Obsessed there, when he could have been on for a points-paying finish for Mercedes there. I'll have to ask him what happened, because I imagine we'll see him in here shortly. But a fantastic race, or a chaotic race, to say the least. But Grumio with the fastest lap from pole, led every single lap and won the race. And that's an RDL Grand Slam for Grumio. Another victory to his name this season, extending his lead to a whopping 42 points in the Drivers' Championship. At least as far as my maths are aware. Obviously, that's based off of chase points. Dan will obviously have gained enough to perhaps move to second place. Will still stay in third place, I imagine, but will be within a few points of his teammate. And if a point would have been scored by Obsessed had that not happened. We'll have to ask him about it should he join us in just a moment. We'll see if we get any takers for an interview here after what was a very, very entertaining Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you as always for coming along for the ride. What a ride it was. We'll see if we can get talking here after what was a very, very topsy-turvy race. And Red J, the first win here. Oh, Red J, fair play on surviving the chaos, mate. But that was more like Dodgem say than Arnie. Would you agree?
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. What a race that was. You know what, I can't wait to watch that back a little bit later on tonight. That was some of the best and some of the worst racing in 12 months of being in RDL. That was absolutely amazing to be a part of. So fun, so many different drivers using the dark arts to try and get every single point they could get their hands on to, myself included in that. You know, apologies to JB and to Courtney. I was a little bit aggressive in those first 2 laps, too aggressive. So, you know, I hold my hands up on that. But I felt I drove relatively clean for the rest of the race in terms of not getting involved in too many incidents or too much corner cutting. The corner cuttings cost. I mean, we'll have to see what other post-race pens I might get or the other drivers get. I'm still hopeful of a point as it stands. Obsessed is 10th because Matthew finished. I think Obsessed finished 11th. Oh, I can't remember actually.
He came on 12th,
but I think he's in with a chance of getting points.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. I think JB had. I think I had down as 12th on the post race, but obviously shooting. Obviously, a lot of that to be done, but you never know. I'd say it's always good to stay positive in terms of points there. those 18 seconds, Reggie, were those all track limit penalties? If you don't mind me asking, were they all in the corner guards?
Yeah,
Wow.
they were, which is it's a massive downfall. It's cost us points today, valuable points. None of it was from there wasn't any speeding under yellows. There wasn't any speeding in the pit lane. There was no incidents that gave me a 10-second time penalty. Yeah, it was all just corner cuts, which isn't great, to be honest. But I mean, it was just an amazing race to be a part of. I feel sorry though for the stewards. Because they're going to have a lot to go through, but it was absolutely chaotic in that midfield. It was great. Just such an amazing race. And it'll be interesting to see what comes out post-race. And also the red flag. Amazing to get that as well. To know that it works within the game. I think Brazil was the last time that we had it, so that was really interesting. That opened a lot up for the strategy. I was behind JB a lot in the final stint, and he was moving all over the place. I think his tyres were absolutely gone. I don't know what the front of the race was like, but I don't think it would have been too as good as the midfield or the back. Going for those four or five final places was just absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's some of the best and some of the worst racing that I've seen. I'd put myself into that bracket, some of my best racing, some of arguably my worst racing, but it was just, a really, really enjoyable race to be a part of. And if we can come away with any points from that, then that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it was chaotic, I'll give you that. But in terms of the front of the pack, Grimia had it all to himself. He actually managed to get Grand Slam in this race, so he's the one driver who sort of was unimpacted by everything, just sort of got on with it. But obviously, Canada was, I think could be a potential success in the end, but obviously going on to Spain next time out. How are we looking for next week?
Spain is a decent track. It's not as fun as Canada, but I think it's an easier track to drive on than Canada. I think the chicanes. It was the final chicane on the last corner, and then the chicane. It would have been turns 3 and 4. That's where I got a lot of my penalties from. And in Spain, there's not really that much of a risk of getting penalties. It's a pretty easy track to drive around, so I look forward to that one. Not as good as Canada, though. I don't think it'll be as chaotic as Canada. For some reason, it was just such a mad race to be a part of. So, it was just, amazing. But, hopefully we'll do well in Spain as well. But I'm just really interested in to see the post-race stewards report, to see what happens. Perhaps me and Obsessed could have massive wide grins come Wednesday morning, or we could be very upset. It's going to be one of the two, but yeah, we'll see.
Let's wait and see indeed. But I'm glad you had fun tonight. We'll move on over to 10th Cannon, who once again 10th. I don't know how you keep doing this. Another Grand Prix on a circuit that like heavy on track limits, no penalties. What is the secret? What do you keep doing?
Not getting penalties apparently. I think I genuinely don't know. It just seems to be my strong point is getting fairly close to the track limits without getting any penalties. But it was God, that was a weird one, wasn't it? That was a strange race. Very fun though. I've got to be honest. I think it was quite up and down. I'm glad I can look back on it now and think it was quite entertaining, because it was. I almost got in like 3 incidents today. I think I may have given Obsessed a what was it? An illegal overtake at one point.
Ooh.
And I don't know what will come of that, but it's whatever. I mean, I'm just happy with how today went anyway. I think wherever I finish, I think to not get any penalties track limits wise and to finish where I did, I think is a bit of a bonus.
I'd definitely say so, but yeah, it was a bit all over the shops. Now, obviously, that red flag obviously changed things slightly later on. Did you take any benefit from that at all? I disconnected when it came out because I didn't get a message about it or anything. There was no red flag thing. It just kicked me out as if I disconnected. So, what happened there for you? What happened on your end?
Well, I think the red flag actually gave me an extra set of mediums because I'd used both of mine before the red flag actually came out, and then it came out and I put some mediums on and I looked at the thing and I had like 1% wear on my front tires and it was confusing. I thought, where have I got this from? So I don't really know what the rules are there. But I think the red flag also helped. It was nice to get a bit of a fresh restart, get a bit closer to the front guys, get a bit closer to the cars ahead of me. I think I was able to benefit off PJ's penalties by doing that. So yeah, I'd say yes, it did help.
Fair enough. Yeah, as Roger said, I think it's good that we know it works. Obviously, moving on to Spain next week. Are we looking perhaps another good points finish? Because this will move you. Perhaps, I mean, I'm just seeing how close. I don't think we'll make any places up for you, but in terms of championship, but it's still very close for the next few races or so.
I don't really like Spain, so I think the goal is just not get knocked out in Q1 and finish in the top 10. I think that tends to be my goal week in, week out, though. So if I can do that, then I think I'll call it a good week.
Fair enough. I mean, good job on the points, and yet again, another lack of track limit penalties. And we'll come now to Websy, who managed to get a second place finish out of that. Websy, congratulations on the podium, mate. Did you, at any point in those last few laps when Grimmy got the 3 seconds, think the win could be on potentially, or did that not really cross your mind?
I don't know. Probably. There's always a chance, isn't there? But realistically, unless he literally got another warning, which I found out that he had another 2.
Oh,
he had
you're
another
kidding.
2. He had another 1 to go. So, and I only had 1 warning because one of them would have been taken off because of an accident in front of me. But yeah, obviously, if I would have been, obviously I would have been a bit closer to him. I would have given him a little bit more pressure. But he got out the DRS so when he did the race start, which is a great race start from him for the safety car. And then there was me and Curtis and Dan racing. Which kind of let him get away again, but no, it was I wasn't expecting to get first at all. I was kind of expecting to be third, really. Obviously, I think Dan and myself was kind of about the same pace kind of thing. I reckon that what my plan was to hopefully try and work with Dan and then try and get back up to Salve, but then Curtis kind of came on the scene, and then there was kind of an incident after the start where there was 3 of us going down the main straight. So and Dan got pushed out on that, and then I understand that later on, as in with Curtis, I think he got a little bit of wing damage from Curtis. So yeah, it's a shame really what happened really, but no, I mean a P2 I wasn't expecting. I knew I was and we knew me and Cott was strong here, and Cott just have such bad luck. Realistically, he pitted just as he got out of the pit, the safety car came out, so he went from kind of 3rd to 8th, and then he ended up. Someone gave him a damaged wing, and then he had to go and pit again. Then he was 14th. It just kept going backwards, and then obviously someone hit his wing again, which it wasn't. I don't think it was anyone's fault. Well, would have been someone's fault at the beginning, but there was an accident at the Wall of Champions. By the time him and the guy in front of him went round the corner, they couldn't see anything. Just went into the accident. So again, it was just unfortunate, but no, great race, absolutely. GG to Salve. Obviously, he was quick. I think I just think that he was the quickest, definitely on the track today, and I think me and Dan was. I think if the way he got out of the DRS, I was kind of roughly keeping with him, but I just think he was playing with me a little bit.
There's every chance. I mean, my second question for you: will there ever be a week where you come in here and you don't answer all my questions in one shot?
I don't know. I just go on a bit, don't I? But But yeah, that was just how my race. That's just how my race ended and started and middled and finished really. So, but no, it was a great race and GG to top three. Did Dan get into third?
I believe he may have just missed out. Landmore got third place in the end, from what I saw. So off the podium for Dan, unfortunately. But no, honestly,
Okay.
don't worry in terms of the answer. That's just my joke there. But obviously, next week Spain coming up. What's the game plan? Are we looking at potentially another podium, perhaps, or at least being in contention for one?
Does anyone really have a game plan? We all we want to do is just stay on the track, not get in an accident, and not get taken out. If we end up driving our best drive, but end up being fourth or fifth or eighth or 12th or whatever it is, you always feel good that there's nothing else you could have done. And I think that's all we can get out of it realistically. We obviously can't plan. We can't plan something. It's inevitable, but something might happen, and safety cars and damage. And the one thing about Spain as well, once you get in the DRS kind of thing with Spain and you lose the DRS, kind of very much like Canada, you just get lost.
Fair enough.
No matter how you are.
Perhaps I might need to rephrase that question for future reference. But yeah, still solid job on the podium today. Obviously, always good to see you back up on the top three. We'll come now last forward to Obsessed. Obsessed, what happened in the last corner there? Because that might have been definite points had that happened. I didn't catch it. I just caught the result. What happened?
My tires, the rears, they were slipping that like entire last 2 laps, and that was just the corner that it just happened on. It almost happened on, what are they, like 4 and 5? That high speed one at the start. Yeah, 3 and 4. It almost happened there. I lost the rear a couple times, but saved it. That one I just didn't have enough room to save it on, so I ended up in the wall, and yeah.
I mean,
unfortunate timing.
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. But I was waiting to call. I was waiting to call you home, confirming the top 10 finish. But obviously, as Reggie said, we may potentially still get a point or two for you guys if the Stewart support goes your way. But obviously, yeah, I think it was a chaotic one today. Would you stand by that?
Yeah. I know there are a couple incidents that are gonna be looked at. Emery, I don't know what happened, but he ended up getting taken out. So the stewards will have a look at that one. And then I know the red flag, they'll definitely have a look at that. So it could definitely still be a point finish, but it's a chaotic one today.
It is, yeah, a lot of work for the stewards, but obviously in terms of, because of course you and Reggie are sort of in the firing line for the majority of the race. So are you pleased with the outcome? Do you both be able to make the flag without too much issue?
Yeah, I will say I replaced my ring 2 or 3 times. But yeah, I think for the most part it was mostly clean, and yeah, pleased with how it came out. But
all good, and obviously,
yeah, I mean, it was literally just about survival in that mid pack, and a lot of drivers came out with battered cars from the end. But, for both of us to be able to finish again, just like we did in Monaco, yeah, we haven't got the pace, but we get there to the end, and it will reap the benefits at some point this season, because there are going to be other chaotic races. If we don't score points here, we will score points at some track. I've got no doubt about that. So we just got to try and keep going at it.
I love that attitude from you guys. Very, very positive mindset. Yeah. I love it. Obsessed in terms of next week then? Are we looking perhaps at contending for another points for points finish again? Or are we just looking to make
I sure hope so, Zach. I really like Spain, and I sure hope that it's a point finish.
Fair enough. That's all we can really ask for at the end of the day. Well, guys, thank you all for coming along to the post-race press conference. Hope you guys all enjoyed that race. I know I definitely enjoyed watching it. And guys, that'll do it for another RDL stream. I hope you guys did, like I say, enjoy it as much as I have tonight. Next Grand Prix will be taking place on the 17th of February. That will be the Spanish Grand Prix from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Make sure to get subscribed for that for more exciting RDL action. And until next time, I've been your host, Zach Ossie. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.